And it has not escaped our attention that this claims or the link between the Deputy President's allies and the protests in June came a day, the same day that the impeachment motion or signatures for the impeachment motion were being collected. And one wonders, could there be a link between the two? Because yes, criminality on one hand would have been handled any other time by the criminal justice system. These claims could be tantamount to treason. We did not see that push between June and September. This is 3 months later, just as impeachment is gaining momentum, then they say that the DP's allies could be linked to the protest. Don't you think that the DP is right in saying that this is a misuse of a criminal justice system? If they had this evidence, they would have prosecuted these individuals way long ago.
There is nothing that happens in politics by coincidence.
So it is purely politics?
It's purely made to happen when it has to happen to achieve some pre-planned objective. So at a time when the members of parliament have collected signatures to impeach the deputy president and the DCI completes his investigation against allies of the deputy president and ODPP rushes to approve the charges, and any time those guys would be facing the judge. Then that's purely politics. The DCI would have been done with the investigations earlier or even later. That it coincides with this, it's purely politics. It was planned, firstly, to wipe the emotions of the people, to make it appear like the DP is so evil. And we are not just impeaching for political reasons. We are impeaching a very bad man whose friends might have been the reason why your son or your daughter died or your daughter was maimed in the demonstrations, because they infiltrated those protests with criminals with a selfish ulterior motive. So it is meant to create a situation from which things will build, to have people side with whatever will be happening in parliament any moment going forward. So it's purely political, and it is in bad taste. It's not good for the nation. I agree with the Deputy President in as much as I may wish to remind him that mkuki kwa nguruwe mtamu. When these things were happening against other, he wasn't speaking. When mothers were crying of their children abducted, he never said nothing. When all these, so why is it so important that today we must sympathize with him that he is being isolated and the judicial and some security organs are used against him? We can only tell him, while we understand it is wrong, but we are okay with it because you didn't have issues when it was us being afflicted by the same system.
But if it was to be used in Jerry, this kind of approach, or any other Kenyan, definitely the fact that it appears to be an abuse of the criminal justice system, that when you're facing political upheavals, then they are compounded through investigations by the DCI and the ODPP. If at all there was criminality, as they allege, this would have happened earlier. It has been 3 months. They would have been caught by now. Treason is criminal.
I really, of course, I have to remind you all, PNU is still in opposition. Because, you know, people have a tendency of thinking that PNU went into government when Baba was going. And I don't want to speak on behalf of my party, but as somebody in opposition, I'm torn in between. Do I really support this guy? The same guy who was out there throwing us under the bus. Every time that anything happened, he threw it under the bus. Every time we were agitating, it is Mongeke. Every time we were agitating, it is Uhuru funding, you know? And it's... I would want every young politician to learn a lot from our seniors, because we have seen it happen in the history of Uhuru regime. It's now happening in this regime of Kenya Kwanza administration. And if we don't take care, the next regime will still do the same.